はい、こんばんは。いやということで、昨日の続きをやっていきたいと思います。今日はちょっと早めに開始です。今日ね、18時からちょっと用事があるからね、17時ぐらいに終わらせないといけないんですよ。で、昨日の続きからです。設定時と。文字のサイズさ、特大にしてあるよね。なんか小さい気がするんだよな。はい。というわけでね、やっていきたいと思いますよ。昨日の続きからなんですけど、まあなんか目覚めたら川のほとりでカレンという人がいて、その人に遺跡案内されて遺跡に落ちたらなんか床抜けてぐるって落ちてなんか湖に落ちて、で、そしてなんか遺跡がなんかすげえ滅びた街だったんだけど、なんかタイムポータル入ったらなんかこの過去の世界に飛んで、古代ローマの街を探検するみたいな話になってる。でだ、いろいろと探検した結果、どうやらここは冥府の世界だってことが分かったと。で、その冥府の世界から脱出するためにこれからどうしようかっていうところからの再開です。端的にまとめるとそう。まあ、で、いろいろとあるんだけど、この進行中って、上の方のやつの、これを片付けた方、これが多分ゲームストーリーに関係してて、下がね、そんなに大きく関係がしない、サブクエスト的な感じなんだろうなっていう感じです。どれから片付けようかな。脅されてる人がいます。実装について話を聞きます。自殺を止めないといけないです。あとは、6番名番だっけ。まあいい、なんかいろいろと書かれてるやつを探さないといけない。じゃあ、脅してるやつの解決いこうか。ということで、家の探索をするよ。
I hope you have a good reason for flouting my weapons ban.
What is it, citizen? What? Absolutely not. I know someone's been threatening him, and I'm not happy
ラ
about
ティウ
it.
スさんは違うと。
But I
いらっ
can
しゃい。
assure you, it isn't me.
今は、副職士の人が、副職士が、脅されてるやつを探
You
してる。
know nothing. What business is that of yours? A lot of people have been looking for her. But it's been 3 weeks, and we've found nothing. What makes you think you can do better?
その人も知らない。
I suppose that's true.
うん。
Scintilla was always a kind, well-behaved young woman. I admit, her disappearance really caught me off guard. If anyone knows something, I'd expect it to be
センティ
Sentia,
ア、マレオ
Malleolus,
ラス、
Claudia,
クラウディア、
or Domitius.
ドミティア。
But none of them will tell me anything. You might fare better, though, I suppose.
うん。
Fine. What business is that? Oh. Fine. All right.
センティラを探さないといけない。お姉さん。
Oh, I wish Horatius would stop letting Barbe.
ぜひと。
I trust.
次お姉さん。もう貧民街に住まいがあるのか。で、貧民街行くか。お邪魔するよ。ドミティエスがたどり着いたときにここに一緒に持ってきたものと。こっちが巨匠か。ローマ軍の盾。スクトゥムと言われている古代ローマの軍の盾。旗。ホラティウスのものだ。兵士たちは貧民街に住んでるんだね。フリダナ、ボトル。あれでもここじゃなさそうだな。こっちか。こっちは行ってないよね。うわぁ、黄金像が2体もある。こん中寝るの嫌だな。見てくんでしょ、ずっと。おー、石の彫刻、弾痕。ローマはなんかこういう、なんか弾痕好きよね。弾痕主義って新しいし。宗教的な意味を持つ石の円盤。へえ。書きかけの手紙。罪人よ、これが最後の警告である。ルフィウスなんだね。ルフィウスが脅してんの。かかってしまったよ。じゃあルフィウスに脅すのやめるように言いに行こう。
How'd you do? Hello there, friend. May I?
話しても信じない
Well,
な。
I'll take your word for it.
適正価格を払うなら自分で弓を手に入れる方法していいよ。
Now you're talking. I'm interested. How about
はぁ
100
?100 デナリ?1000 デナリだ
Oh,
ろ。
that's a little excessive, don't you think? It's not the bow of Ulysses we're talking about.
投資者と考えればいくらがコインと引き換えに想像でする罪が得られる。
All right. But I'm going to need you to tell me before I pay up.
それなら交渉決定。
Wait. Let's not be too hasty, friend. I just want a little assurance that I
いいで
can
すよ、いい。
trust you. That's all.
冥界から脱出するための方法を探しています。僕、目の前のチャンスは逃さない方がいいと思うよ。
I suppose you're right. All right, you drive a hard bargain, but here's your money. Now, the location of that bow.
嫌な制度の中。
But I already knew that, you imbecile. Everyone knows that. I can't take that golden bow because stealing from the goddess in her own shrine would break the golden rule. You promised to tell me where I could get one of my own.
で、弓は手に入るとずっと持っていられるじゃないか。
What is this? Some kind of joke?
あなたは私の望むものを提供してくれた。そして私は約束したものを提供。
I don't believe this is happening.
抜き穴する様子のは得意なの。楽しかったらまたやってもいい
Don't even talk to me.
Thank you. どうしてありがとう。あ、鼻を沸かすことができた。いい君やぜ。めちゃめちゃ利用されたからな、こいつには。
Salve.
いたいた。
Ah, you again. No idea what you're talking about. What? That was Galerius, not you.
彼は一体どこで柳の辞書手に入れた
Oh, he got that from you? I guess you did help me then. I think I have seen that plaque. Sorry I lied. Can't be too careful these days. Head into the caves behind the
劇場の裏手
theater.
にある道具
Then right again.
右曲がって右。
And here, you'll need this key.
ありがとう。おお、
You didn't get that from me.
もちろん。
No idea what you're talking about?
どうしてのあんただろう。あなたがやったこと分かってるあなたの家の中でって手紙にしてた。
Look, I haven't been at my best lately. I know that. It's the rheumatism. It starts with constant pain in all your joints. Then the pain starts to
理由ま
mess
で
with your
辛いよ
head.
ね。
Makes you angry, mean. I know that's not an excuse for how I acted. But it's the truth. But with the willow bark, I'm already starting to
それよかった。
feel like myself again. I'll leave him alone from now on. It's not as if I was ever going to hurt him anyway. I was just lashing out. I'm going to go and clean up the graffiti.
この人はいい人だ。
Just forget this ever happened. Will you?
もちろん。じゃあちょっと報告に行きましょう。ちなみに劇場ってどこだ？劇場ってここかな？ここ劇場か？解決したよ。
Sometimes I stare at the great temple on the bluff, and a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little. I hear we have you to thank for saving you.
今年のことは心配ない。
What demon or spirit told you about that?
きっかけのメッセージを
You
見つけ
went
た。
snooping in his place? That was risky. We're lucky you didn't cross any lines. Have you spoken to him about it?
ああ、惑わせることはないよ。
How did you manage that?
リウマチの治療薬を見つけた。イライラが収まらず個人的な問題があったようだ。
Poor fellow. I've heard that can really mess with a person's head. Well done for figuring that out. Really? That's promising. I'll keep an eye out for him. Well, Malleolus is talking about loosening my... Nice to talk to you.
投票先は変わらないと。ここトイレ。劇場の裏手にある道具って言ってたよな。オクタビアに話を聞きに行く。ちなみにタイムトラベラーなので何度も何度も同じこの時を繰り返していく。暗いよ。明るくなった。この銅像たちはこっちを向くんだよな。お。
What are you doing here? Please leave. said please leave. You're trespassing.
ほうほうほうほう。魚のマークって何なんだろうね。魚のマークだ。
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
え、何があったの？え、誰が何した今回。これ誰が何したのか教えてよ。え、誰が何した今回。黄金律、ゴールデンルールってのがありまして、それを破るとね、金の像が動き出してね、住民たちを全員黄金化させてしまうっていう、そういう感じです。え、誰が何やった今回。まだあれ、起きてないよな、あれは。え、誰が何やった？全然わからん、急に来て。え、あれ取ったからか？いや、関係ないよな。盗むって出てないもんな。
Salve, friend.
はい。
Mind telling
い
me
い人が
who
言う。
you are and what you're doing with that?
急ぎでやってほしいこと。
Sounds. Yulia. Oh no.
ユリがやばいから
All
薬を
right,
渡し
I
て
can。do that.
ルシウスがバーシルを落としてるから、リウマチがなるから問題解決する
Poor
からよろしく
Virgil.
ね。
Poor Rufus too, I guess. All right, got it.
ファビアがね、死んじゃうから助けてあげてね。
Stop Fabia going in, but send the newer.
さあ、以上だ。
I'll go.
急いで。
But once I'm done.
GO! 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 マジでいい人だよな。マジでいい人だと思うわ。じゃあ、次何をやるか。お金貯まってるから、この自殺のやつを止めに行こうか。お金がね、貯まってるはずなのよ。2000ないといけないんだけど、今多分2700あるからいけるね。まあ、足りなかったらまた金せしめればいいか。よいしょっと。ミャーン！オッケー、落ちそうだった。1、2、1、2。すべてはあなた次第。ちなみにこの金の銅像、こっちに向いてきてますけど、みんな生きた人間です。怖いね。昔の住人が黄金に変えられてしまった慣れの果てのようです。怖いね。
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the gold. All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to...
I can't believe this
と
is
いうことで、この人が自殺しようとしてるので止めます。
Oh, no. No. No, 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 no. Orpheus, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working
Road
for a
order
man
みたいな
who
感じ
treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all of us. We're all in this together, Ulpius. Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do.
黄
I've
金
never
律
had
破
to
っちゃ
deal
っ
with
た
this
ら、
sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him.
そう、まあ、古代ローマとか好きな人だったら、
Thank you.
面白いゲームだ
And
と思う。
please, choose your words carefully.
それがセンティラノを望むこと
You
か？
know about that? How is that possible?
センティラ
I
行方不
mean,
明になっ
I've
てる女の子。
never mentioned it to anyone.
話しても信じないだろう。
If you say so. You don't understand. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it all to be over.
私はあなたの問題を解
It's
決できる
too late for that. Yulia and I made a pact, and she's already swallowed hemlock this morning.
ユーリア
If
は
I
薬を
backed
渡し
out
たい
now,
んで
I'd
すね。
be betraying her. I can't do that.
彼女生きてるから大丈夫だよ。
Oh, really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster. Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts.
ああ、ここにある。
Really? Wait. So, I guess you'd want me to work for you then.
いいえ、あなたは自由
You'd。do that for us. A couple of complete strangers.
もちろん。
It seems today we are both blessed. This did not turn out how I thought. Thank you, friend. I never thought people like you existed.
ほら、お金だ。
Thank you. I'll go and pay off our debts immediately. I just wish there was some way I could repay you. But I have nothing but the tunic on my back.
それを
I'll
気に
go
なっ
and
ていい
take
よ。
care of things with Malleolus and tell Yulia the good news. Thanks again, friend. I'll never forget what you did
もう
for
一回お
us.
金稼がなきゃな。彼の身で彼が聞いてるわ。これさっきの
What you did was extraordinary.
下にいた人ね。
I'll never forget.
もう行くよ。
Ah,
今はとりあえず大丈夫。結構解決したな。ウルピウスの自殺は止めたので、ウルピウスにいろいろと話を聞かないといけないんだよな。じゃあちょっとこれを、失踪をやっていきましょう。ウルピウスとか走ってる。ジップラインで追いかけよう。もう一回2000集めるの大変だから、このタイミングで全部失踪周りは解決してやりたい。
Citizen,
ヤッホー。
I'm so glad you didn't go through with it.
Just
wasn't
like
for lack of
Apollo
trying.
and Diana.
And now Malleolus is going to... Wait. Why do you look so happy?
We're free. Malleolus just released us and we never have to set foot in that villa again.
What? How?
The newcomer arranged it somehow.
Really? That's... incredible. Oh, what a relief. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. Just rest up, get your strength back, and we'll celebrate properly when you're ready.
I will. Thank you, Ulpius. I will.
ウルピウス、話を聞かせてくれ。
Shalom.
賢者のこと
Gentilla and I were in love. And then, 22 days ago, she went missing.
最初から聞かないといけないか？
One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Malleolus's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out, so once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her. Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa,
あらあ
I
ら。
just sat there on the roof, listening to her with my chin on my knees. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her. And from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out of here. like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was. All I know is she loved me. And if she had known a way out, she would have told me. She'd never have taken her own life. And there's no way anybody could have killed her under the Golden Rule. I can't prove it, but I just know she's still alive somehow. Even now, it's as if I can hear her voice in my head, crying out to me. That can only mean one thing.
妄想では。
Somebody abducted her. I have no idea how, or who would want to do something like that to such a sweet, lovely girl. But what else could have happened? My
心当た
guess?
りある？
Malleolus had something to do with it. He is without doubt the most evil man I have ever known. I have no idea where he'd be keeping her, but there is one room in his villa, upstairs, which is always locked. I've never seen the inside of it, and I haven't been able to steal a key without breaking the Golden Rule. But I have a feeling that if you could get in there somehow, it would shed light on a great many things.
ありがとう、調べてみ
Let
よ
me
う。
know what you discover.
まだちょっとお話聞かせて。
Shalom. Sentius, I suppose. You mean where am I from? But when I was a
Judah
child, I
Shishinanda.
moved to Rome with my family, Romanized my name, and spent most of my life in the Jewish district of Trans-Tiberim, across the Tiber from the main city. That's where I was when the fires broke out. Everyone was running toward the river, and I, listening to my inner contrarian, ran the other way. Every road leading out of Rome was in chaos, full of people with all their belongings in carts, and brigands preying on them. Several hours down the Appian Way, I saw another Jewish family being attacked by 3 opportunists. So I picked up a branch from the side of the road and went to defend them. I can only assume they got the better of me because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a forest, by a river not far from here, with no memory of how I got there. It's strange though, because I still had my purse on me. Why would a robber knock me unconscious and throw me in a river, but not take my coins? A lot of good it did me. And that family. All right, friend.
ありがとう。
That's quite an impressive bow you have there. Just like
エ
Diana's.
クイティアさんに話しとこ
A new face. Arve.
う。メーカーを脱出する方法についていくつか質問した。
I beg your pardon?
リビアは楽しかった。私がいるのはメーカ
Oh
ーだ。
my. That is quite a lot to take in. You'll have to give me a moment. Let's see. If that is indeed the case, I suppose we'd better figure out what to do about it, hadn't we? We don't have
この人と一緒にね、前のループで相談してね、あ、ここメーカーやってことを気づいたっていう。これ前聞いたやつだね。だからこの冥界から抜け出した神のお話から参考にして、ここから脱出しないといけないよねって話をした。だから表面から冥界の王とぶち当たるのか、抜け道を見つけるのかの二択って感じですね。それはお前が軟弱者だからだよ。どうやって2回行くんだ。
Elected your magistrate. Magistrate. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I see that.
あ、いた。いた。
You're not supposed to be in here. Talk. What business could you possibly have with me?
なぜここに閉じ込められた
My marital affairs are no concern of yours. Thank you very much.
俺マリアラスの恨みを晴らすの手伝ってくれないか、
An intriguing proposition. Go on.
身元を打ち合って。
Perhaps you're not as silly as those clothes make you look. What makes you say that?
気にしないでほしい。センティラの
The
小さい人
dainty
知って
little
る？
thing from next door? Of course not. As much as I despise her father, I would never lay a finger on that poor, sweet child.
何か隠してる読めるのが。
I've had quite enough of this. Demetrius, come. Do I need to call Demetrius?
怒らせてしまう。お前は主人から呼び出されてんのに何もしねえのか。
Oi! How did you get in there?
ウルピウスにセンティラがいなかったことが。
Shalom. Really? I was sure he was hiding something in there. I feel like I've looked everywhere. At least everywhere I can get to. There are still two places I've never been able to reach. First, the palace. If Navia managed to get in, then I suppose Scintilla could have too. The only other place she could be is somewhere in the cistern network. I remember hearing that Dooley had been poking around in the upper cistern before he was locked up. So you could ask him about it, I suppose. All right.
怒らせてしまったなぁ。あ、そしたら、あのおっちゃんを追い詰めるのはまた今度だな。マーカーどこに出てるか。マーカー出てないようだ。
On your best behavior, I trust.
Oh, don't mind me. Oh, I wish I'd...
屋敷の人に話を聞けって言ったけど。
We're finally alone. I must have entrusted you with Is that about right?
この人にね、この
What happened?
黄金律を破る人を見つけてくれっていうことを言われて。
Look, now, I assume. Thank you.
次どうしようかな。じゃあちょっとシフトってところに行けるようにしないといけないから、その動きをちょっと今からやってみるか。
Fear is proof of a degenerate mind.
下かな？下っぽいな。
Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked. How is it possible that you... Sisyphus was you for Tantalus.
ここはね、前聞いた話なので。
Anyway, so anytime now, I'm going to keep you. Oh, and if our conversations ever.
本当に忙しいって言ったら空気読むから大丈夫だよ。自分が政務官立候補したとか考えてたのか。
bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's going to take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. And that's good enough for me. And how could you... Oh, wait. You've seen it in another time loop, haven't you? Well, in that case, we need to find a way to make sure Malleolus loses. Better yet, get him to withdraw altogether. If you can do that, and Sentius is the only candidate left, I'll run against him. Deal? Oh, I don't give it much thought these... Alright.
ね、やめさせないといけないんだけど、さっきの奥さんを怒らしちゃったから、多分、怒らしちゃったんで、話も聞いてくれないんですよね。アイテム1個回収し忘れたのがちょっと響いた。黄金化してる。めっちゃこっち向いてる。ここに人が死んでまして、その死んだ人から、アイテム取って、ルリの宿。I do not do it, ルリ。私は無実だ。
Hello there, friend. May I...
ちょっと金もらっていい？
Well, I'll take your... Now you...
2000で。
Oh, that's a little... All right, all right.
それならこうして。貯金箱から金もらっていいか？ありがとう、助かったわ。Thank you。貯金箱ありがとう。もう簡単に2000ゴールド手に入る、2000レウリ手に入れる方法が見つかってしまったよ。ね、みんな飛び降りて撃ってくるからね、怖いよね。皆さん、ATM ができました。やりましたね。これで無限にお金をせしめることができますよ。じゃあ次ギリシャのやつ探してみるか。あいつね、ちなみにちょっと前回のやつ見てない方に軽く言うとね、あいつね、弓を取らせるために私のこと閉じ込めやがってね、で、騙しやがったからね、恨みがあるんですよ。ルリさんの話聞きやがったのか。ルリー。
Hello? Hello?
どっかで会った？会ったよ。
My friend Hannibal used to look after me. He said, if anything, he gave me this key. All I remember is he said something about, now nobody looks after me. Except my friend.
で、ルリから話聞けないのか。ルリから話聞けないんだったらちょっと後回しにしよう。ヨルディウスから話聞きましょう。
Welcome to my humble store. Greetings. I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another...
もちろん分かっている。私がどこから来たのか知りたいのだろう。でも私もあなたに聞きたいことが。
My friend, your words in...
ガバシを探している。
Please, let us leave the live coals safely beneath us.
私を信じてほしい。動く人同時、ここに手でやっていこう。違うか？
Very well. But the magistrate would not look kindly upon this, so please keep it to yourself. For several months now, I have been sneaking out at night to worship the gods of my ancestors in the temple of Demeter. Each day, I leave offerings of food in the hope that we may have a bountiful harvest. And yet the next day, when I return, the food is missing. The offering, it is symbolic, you see. It is never eaten. So I ask, who or what is devouring the food in this temple? Stranger still. Once I sat in front of my shop like the 100-eyed Argus until dawn to see if I could spot a thief going in. But do you know what I saw? Nothing. Nobody entered. And yet when I went to take a look, my offering was gone. It is bizarre, is it not? When I told my friend Kabash of this at the tavern, he offered to help investigate. He went in, and to my dismay, he was never seen again. It is the only Greek temple in the city. Head towards the baths, and it is the last building on your right. I do not think you should pursue this, my friend. It would break my heart to be but you do not strike me as a kind of person to be deterred by such warnings. So just be careful, I beg you.
はい、ありがとう。もしよければのんびり聞いてってくれ。
Have you discovered anything?
まだ。
And in a city full of Romans, you are asking me because I am Greek. Let me tell you something about Greeks and Romans. My name is Georgios, yes, but the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios, and they think, ah, he must mean Georgius. Good Roman name. They do this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us, but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto, Persephone, Proserpina. I am flattered that they copy our ideas, but why must they change the names? Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from? At first, I pull my hair out. After a while, I give up, and I become Georgius the Roman. I accept the world is Roman now. Plus, I have no hair left to pull. But my point is this. If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans. The plague you seek was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Tully. He cannot help it. Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my people. And besides, it makes him happy. So I say, let him keep it. I believe he still has it with him, in his cell, just opposite the Temple of Demeter. I hope that...
グリに話を聞き、なんかグリに固まってんな。グリの奥に持ってるのあれがそうか。あなたの檻の中にギリシャの名馬。
Do you like it? It's shiny, innit? It makes me happy just looking at it. But if I gave it to you, then I wouldn't have it anymore, and I'd be sad. But it's mine, and I really like it. I want to keep it. Well, if you get me out of here, then I wouldn't need it anymore because I'd already be happy. Then you could have it, and you'd be happy too. Like Galerius. He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything. Yeah, Galerius will let me out. Then you can have my plaque and everyone will be happy. Bye bye.
なるほどね。これは無理だわ。で、ギリシャの神殿もここか。ギリシャ人の壺。ギリシャの壺。なんか奥に進めそうな空間があるけど。お？なんかあるな。最近誰かがここを通ったよ。朽ち果てたギリシャ像。 中電灯を出そう。お、ギリシャの掛け事だ。ギリシャのものがいっぱいある。水が流れ。お？すごい空間で。見たけたが老人に。
You carry the gift of Prometheus in your hand. Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name? It's a sincere pleasure to meet you. Tell me, what brings you all the way down here?
オベリスクから外された。
Ah, yes, that cursed thing. I know exactly where it is. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I've been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule? Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue? Good enough for me. Now, let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong? You are an overthinker too. We're the same then. It is probably why I became a philosopher. But if you struggle with right and wrong normally, then down here with the Golden Rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult. Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the Golden Rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree? So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing? How can that be? Since they all have differences, it follows that in some cases they would offer different conclusions about what is right and wrong. If there is a correct moral code, then wouldn't it follow that only one can be the correct one? Ah, you know, I think you'd find an ally in Herodotus, the scribe from among my people who lived some 400 years ago. He told the story of a man named Darius, whose curiosity was piqued when he learned that a certain tribe had the practice of eating their dead. He asked some Greeks who burnt their dead, "What would it take for you to eat your dead?" Aghast, they replied, "Nothing." Then he asked the tribe who ate their dead, "What would it take for you to burn your dead?" "Nothing," they replied, equally aghast. From this, Herodotus concluded that custom is king, that right and wrong are merely local ideas which do not survive the journey from one tribe to another. I take it you're in agreement?
Hey.
Then let me ask you this. If you visited a tribe where they ate each other, copulated with the dead and drank wine from cups made out of human skulls, would you still maintain that within such a tribe there is nothing wrong with such conduct? And that's a credit to you. It is the mark of a civilized person to change their position when presented with a superior argument. My point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong. If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all. I admit, I am talking a lot. Forgive me. I'm just excited to have company. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions. You mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story. I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night, I found myself in a tavern in an argument with a drunk mercenary. It became heated. He drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny. They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto, but long before that, my people called him Hades. My generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again. I fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you and know I am still alive. I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many, many years. Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation, so I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner. As you wish. If I did, would I be living like this? Did we not discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You're toying with me. You seek the plaque bearing the Egyptian inscription. It is a cursed object, and I would be happy to give it to you, if Kabash had not already taken it. I will tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the Temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans. However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription. We had no idea until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail. There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
もう地下道に入れと。
I enjoyed our chat, but please keep my presence here.
わかった。これ落ちたら上がってこれなさそうな感じするよね。ここで寝てるんだ。浴槽なんだ。あ、浴槽をベッドに改良したんだ。なるほどね。で、ここで魚を釣りつつ、生活をしてると。
You've returned.
まあ、ギリシャとかローマとかエジプトあたりの文明をね、勉強するとなかなかつながりがあって面白いんですよね。なんだかんだ全部地中海だしね。
You've returned.
カボティンじゃ行きましょう。哲学者の友人の一人に依頼。哲学者の友人の一人の骨。しかし明快なのに、こうやって骨になるまで天寿を寿命を全うできるんだね。すごいね。よくわからない高スイート。エジプトの像。ここにも黄金像あんの？ここにも黄金像がある。 マジで？ガチゾンビじゃねえ。普通にしかも木製の方で撃っちゃった。うわ、黄金像がいっぱい。こっちに向かって逃げようとしてるけど。どっからタッチダウンしてくるかわからん。あー、高い。こっちが黄金の意味だな。でもキーの確認してました。暗すぎるねん、ここ。でもここにいる。マジだ。使ってんの普通の意味だし。普通の意味の方捨てらんねえかな。邪魔だな。捨てらんねえな。拾うんじゃなかったな。エジプトのやつ。ああ、一人の罪は多くの罪となるだろう。じゃあ、ここもしかしてエジプトの時の、あれってことか？お、ちゃんとこっち向かって走ってくる。並んでたっといて。危ねえだろうが。やつ回収。この感じを見ると、ここが昔の、あ、足元でぐるぐるしてしまうパターンのやつだ。ここが多分エジプトの頃の冥界だったんだろうね。多分。あれもエジプトの何神だか忘れたけど、神様の銅像ですね。ゆっくりこっち来てね。ゆっくりこっち来て。当たった。今度一発で決めたよ。おっ。 埋まっとる。みんなこっち向いてるってことは生きてるよな。ずーっとこの場所に囚われてんの？なんかおるな。
Stop! Do not come any closer. Who are you?
私の名前が
I am Kabash.
こいつがカバシか。
And let me guess, another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors, hmm?
私がギリシャ人がローマ人に見えるの？
Trousers, boots, curious here. No, I suppose you do not. Then what do you want?
エジプトの名盤を探してる。
To what end?
オベリスクの元の一品戻して。
That is welcome news. You really are not Greek or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it and restore the honor of Osiris.
おー、沈黙の神オシリス。こんな感じに渡していいのか？
Now, as for the other plaque.
大の名盤、それを知ってるのか？
Indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was. You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it. Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie. I will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is?
考古学者の子。考古学者なんでこれが出ます。ルアとか。
Indeed, and I see you know our history. This is the Duat. See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers, but instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew. It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more. You will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name. You are too late. It is done. You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness. If it will help you to see reason, then ask. I am from Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kirti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kirti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead. This is where I belong, as caretaker of the memories of my people. I think if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me, for I try to live as I ought do to the doer to make him do. I do not know what could possibly lie beneath the underworld. All I know is it would be most. Wait, you are planning to go down there. I see it in your eyes. You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness. We shall see.
お、深い。ここで暮らしてんだなってことがよくわかる。さあ、行くか。
That lamp.
ここってもしかしてエジプトの時のあれでは？エジプトの時のその冥界の入り口なのかもしれないな。で、拾った謎のやつはシュメールか。シュメール文明ね。はいはいはい。なるほどね。ここにいる人たち、シュメールか。言っても私もシュメール文明詳しくないんだけど。名前は聞いたことある。シュメールはね、エジプトじゃなくて中央アジアだった。確か。何かから身を守ろうとしていたよ。最善を尽くした。他人同士の関係になっている。愛を学べ。 ソポタミアの元になるのがシュメール文明か。そうかそうか、そうやった。いや。メソポタミア文明が確か、あれだったね。おいおいおいおい。かわいそうだろう、銅像が。わわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわわ。通れなさそう。なんか銅像が刺さってるし。エジプトの人たちがまだ生きてるじゃん、やばーって思ってたけど、それ以上にシュメールの人たちがまだ生きてたわ。やば。回転ろくろを発明し、それによって大量生産を可能にした。考古学の考察。考古学者がいるから。ゴリラちゃん、今回考古学者なんでね、よくわかってる。ロマンしかないね。世界最古だからな。もういかついおっちゃんが。おっちゃん元気？お兄さん元気？生きてるみたいね。君らに会いに来たよ。あばばばばばばばばば。トライ。ババー。おー。
When I told you that you would not find a way back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise. You will die here.
何言ってんだこいつ。
I disagree. I warned you against coming down here, against perpetuating this sacrilege. But you persisted. You have undermined and dishonored the true god of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed?
話は最後まで聞いてほしい。
Very well, I will listen. But if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat. So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy?
真実によって壊されるのであれば、それは本来真実によって壊されるべきものだ。仙人たちの残したものの上に何かを築くことは嘆かわしいことではない。どっちだ？私は古いオベリスクが外された名板を元に戻したいだけだ。
Why? To what end?
冥界の神と謁見を賜る手段として必要だ。
But why? What business could you have with Osiris?
彼に敬意を表したい。彼に黄金律のことで立ち向かうつもりだ。立ち向かうことが冒涜につながるかどうかな。黄金律のことで私は立ち向かう。
Blasphemous fool! You have sealed your own fate.
待って、ここで黄金律破ることがある。
Good. I welcome it. You see, The philosopher told me that each time it breaks, Osiris bellows with rage, and his voice shakes the very foundations of the earth. I can only hope one more tremor will lay waste to this fragile place once and for all, and you along with it.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
もうしょうがねえな。ガバシと話せない。行くしかねえな。出てこねえだろ。ここがエジプトのエリア。みんな見てる。ちょっと通るからね。結局怒らせてしまったよ。いい。いい。いい。元に戻った。そう多分生きてる人は目光ってんだと思うわ。だからあの像とかも生きてないんだよ。ガワシの声が聞こえる。おじいちゃんがいなくなってる。おじいちゃんどっかに隠れていればいいけど。ここに隠れてる。
Those poor souls.
It's the statues. They're alive. They're
い
turning
や
us
こっち
to
向くなよ
gold.
お前。目の前のやつ撃てよ。なんでだよ。なんでこっち向くんだよ。おかしいだろ。もう野蛮なんだから。ということで時を巻き戻します。 ダメージはままなの。
Salve, friend. Oh. You? Alright, let me... How did you... Alright, of course. I'll go.
Ixion turns.
私は今から ATM からお金下ろすからさ。
Hello there, friend. Well, now...
5000ディナリ。
Oh, that's... All right, all right. Wait. I suppose now. The location of that. I can't take that. What is it? Don't even.
Thank you, ATM.お、走る。あとギリシャを店にいるだけですね。はい、いらっしゃい。はい、いらっしゃい。
Salve.
Salve, Ruffius. I hear your rheumatism has you so riled up you've been harassing Virgil.
What? My condition
すげえ聞き方してんな、この
is
人。
business but mine.
There's no need for that. I just wanted to give you this willow bark to help you treat it.
A treatment?
Hey! You're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you? Good. You be... So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground. And hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed. And it was eating Hannibal. If it was a man, maybe. But I swear on my life this was no man. More like a Strix, or some Versipelus that feeds on human flesh. I didn't stick around to see which. What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there, and put a sign at the door to warn the others. Well, it's your funeral.
あ、その前にやることがあるからお前の屋敷入るな。とう。奥さん聞いてくださいよ。あなたの旦那さんが実はですね、大変なことやってたんですよ。聞いてくださいよ。
I'm not supposed to talk. You know, I may have the very thing you're looking for. Some time ago, when he still cared for me, he wrote me a love letter. Only, he used the wrong name. Now, addressing one's wife by the wrong name is not unheard of among philandering Romans. But in this case, the name he got wrong was his own. I confronted him about it, and he stammered through some incoherent response. I let it go, eventually, and yet questions have lingered in the back of my mind ever since. But wait a minute. Why exactly are you helping me? To withdraw. Listen, I may not be Penelope to his Ulysses, but to ruin his plans to become a magistrate? You must think me quite mad. Demit him!
ダメだったか。
Do I need to call Domitius?
どうやらこの人意外と旦那のこと大事にしてんの。中行ってみましょうか。どういたしまして。ウェルカムキック。ペンダントがあって、ラテン語でセンディアディフって書いてある。スターに入るときに潰れてしまったよ。あらあら。やつも回収。髪型がね、盛り方がすごいよね。盛り盛りだからね、クラウディアさんの。こういうときは、もう黄金とさせてる。デナリウスの回収。それだけかい。他探索できそうなことないのかな。 それ以外道っぽい道ないっすね。あ、こっちか。若いローマの銅像が落ちている。よいしょ。凍らせたら上行ける？上行けそうだ。あばー。お。よいしょ。ということで、シスターの中入っちゃったのか？入っちゃったっけ？誰かいる？
You? Who are you? Did he send you? Do you know you're here? You have to help me escape before that monster comes back. I'm Scintilla. I found a way out through the Gate of Horn, but it's locked. So I told him about it, and instead of helping me escape, he locked me up. He wants to keep us all here forever, or until we're turned to gold. He's a monster. You have to let me go so we can kill him and take his key. Sentius, my adoptive father. Furies help me. I'll castrate and crucify him. I don't know. He said the gods are on his side because they don't want us to escape either. Behind me, there's an aqueduct tunnel bringing water from outside the city, so it should lead us outside. The only problem is it's barred by a heavy locked gate, and he has the only key. I'm going to take that key from around his neck, even if it means cutting his throat to get it. I'm done caring about the golden rule. I just want out. Help me, and we can escape together. There won't be enough time. Just you and me. What do you say? There's no time. Wait, did you hear that? He's here. Quick, you have to let me go. It's now or never.
難しい選択を迫られている。一緒にここから出ようって選択がしづらいな。
What? No. You can't just leave me here. How can you be so heartless? It's no use. You'll never persuade him of anything. I'm telling you, he's a monster. Please. You're making a mistake.
あ、落ちれない。綺麗に落ちれない。多分。まさかの展開です。 今一生懸命ローディングしてる。
We're finally alone. I must... Is that about... You broke it. Well, it seems you failed. Spectacularly. Look, it's unfortunate. Now, I assume you...
あなたが先手は何をしたか知っている。
You know, you remind me of him. Al Worth. The fellow who came through the portal before you. Come now. Surely you didn't think you were the only one here who remembered everything. You see, my connection to the portal somehow preserves my memories from one moment to the next. Whether that was Proserpina's intention or a happy accident, I'll never know. But I'm surprised you hadn't noticed. Here I was thinking you're a little bit sharper than Al was. Or perhaps you're just more willing to break the rules. He was a moralistic fellow, never once compromised on his principles. And because of that fatal flaw, he relived this day many thousands of times before we finally had this conversation. I watched him come through the portal each time, always a little older, a little more disheveled, a little more haunted. And when he finally saw the futility of it all, as you're about to, it broke him. He drank a jug of wine, tied a noose around his neck, and took his own life, just before he was shot with a golden arrow. The next time I awoke, you showed up, but you've caught up to where he was so quickly. I mean, you've lived through the day, what, 5 times? Extremely impressive. And yet everything you've done has been in vain, because there's no escape. Except the path that Al took, the path he wrote about on his tablet. What was it? Ah, yes. Best to take your own life now. So, you discovered my secret. So what? What are you going to do about it? Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I have grown attached to all this. My title, my beautiful villa, the sun on my face, the music of birds chirping. And as long as this day keeps repeating itself, I get to enjoy it all, over and over again, for eternity. Don't you see? I have found a way to prolong my life indefinitely, to cheat death. I have become, in effect, as immortal as the gods. Can you honestly say you would not wish the same for yourself? And why would I agree to that? The only way you're getting this key is over my dead body. And if I die, I won't be able to open the portal for you again, meaning you'll have created a paradox. You see, it was my actions that brought you to this point in time. So if you kill me, you'll stop me from doing so, and you being here will be an impossibility. That means if I die, you'll be flung back to your original time, having caused the deaths of everyone here, and you'll never be able to undo it. Is that what you want? You might want to think that through. If anyone so much as touches me, everyone dies. Oh, you and your pathetic morality. Nobody cares about your opinions or what happens, where you're from. Least of all, me. Understand that to me, you've never been anything more than a useful idiot. And I certainly hope not. In fact, I want it to go on and on forever until you wither and die like Al did, and the gods send yet another useful idiot to extend my life.
すげえな、でもこの人会うたんび同じことしか言わないんだね。言わないようにしてたんだね。知ってんのに。
Beg the gods for help? They don't care about you, and neither do I. Now, get out of my villa. I'm... Don't be so foolish. If you kill me, and if I die, I won't be able to open the... You see, it was my actions that brought you. That means if I die, you'll be flung back. Now, get out of my...
あらあら。
I trust you.
困ったね。どうしようか。
That's quite an
is proof
impressive
of a
bow you have
degenerate
there.
mind.
Just like Diana's. A new face. It must be complete. It'll be between sentient. Why do you up? All of the males. There are some women who can vote. Vestal priestesses like my... I can't allow... By using whatever gifts the... Certain. See you again.
What is it, citizen? All right?
Keeping an eye on things, Horatius?
As always, priestess.
Any news about Sentilla, Navier, or Kabash?
No sign of any of them, I'm afraid. But we do have a newcomer. Strangely dressed woman. Pretty, though. Funny accent, too.
A traveler from a faraway land, then?
Seems that way.
Then let's make sure she... feels welcome, shall we?
Of course, priestess.
あ、でも奥さんに嫌われてたからな。一回ループさせなきゃダメか。私を見つけてって言われても。
Shall they? Don't even talk
要
to me.
ATM 入るぞ。ガチガチにかかってね。例えば、どっかにあるの死体があるってことですか？もしかしてここの場所のどっかに。ルートをたどればもしかしてあるの死体ある？確かこのルートだったよ。この辺りじゃなかったっけ？飛びかかって。 あ、でも首かけた後ねえな。もしかしてアルがいなくなっアルが来てない話になってんのか。だからみんな知ってるもんな。入り口のハゲさんはね、ループのこと知らない。
I thought I told you to get it. I thought I told.
同じこと何度も言える人すげえな。意外と忍耐強いな。あ、どうしようかな。今考えてます。大体謎は分かってきて、一旦ループをして。やっぱこういうの構えた時に狙う場所ってあそこだよね。はい。お金盗むか。
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like a deer over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
一致に一致に一致に。電気ユヌスタイル。はい。いや、来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな来んな。こんにちは。
Salve.
あら、ここでこういうシーンも出せるようになるんだ。へえ。
Oh. Yulia? Oh, all right. But I'll go.
さあ、安易にね、水道の上の部分の道を使うのは危険だと思うんでね。
The 49 melodies fetch again.
話を聞くと明快だからさ、そのルートよりかまっすぐ対峙してこの明快を終わらせた方がいいっすよ。
Salve. Hello there. Wow. Oh well. Very well.
お金はまだあったよな。あるな、4000もあるわ。十分すぎる。 に奥さんに会っちゃう。3回目。
You're not so tall. You know, some now but
ごめんなさい。
I couldn't agree more. It seems our interests are aligned. I imagine knowing his true identity will give me the leverage I need to manage him appropriately. But first, I need you to do something for me. I want you to bring me some wine. Just one small urn should do it. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know this must be hard for you to wrap your sweet little pleb head around. So what do you need me to spell out? Let me tell you something about Malleolus. He talks a lot about freedom, but what he doesn't tell you is that he means freedom for men. After all I've done for him, counseling him through his entire election campaign, and he had the audacity to lock me in here. He said it was for my own good, and that my drinking was unbecoming of a lady, let alone the wife of a magistrate. I'll show him unbecoming. Tonight, at his victory party, I'm going to get good and merry, and if he tries to discipline me again, I'll threaten to expose his true identity in front of everyone. I am so looking forward to it. So, you'll help me? Thank you. Here's the letter.
ありがとう、手紙。クイーンピウスと明かしてしまったラブレター。
Now, perhaps you can tell me who Quinctius really is.
彼こそ去年ローマに火を放った。
What? He's... Oh no. That's... quite a lot more serious than I imagined. I only wanted some leverage over him, not to destroy him. Give me that immediately. Nobody else must know. Another copy. No, 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 no! This can't be happening. What? No. You tricked me, you mendacious little stirkers. It was a lie of a mission. You were planning this all along and you deliberately concealed it. May Jupiter cut you down. I curse you. I curse your life and mind and memory. May you be unable to walk or eat or drink. May this drag you to the depths. This is outrageous.
Thank you.で、これを回収して、矢も回収して、木製の海はいらないと。
Whatever's in that great temple up there on the bluff.
Don't believe a word they tell you.
グルピウスは生きてる。素晴らしい。
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here without a hefty tribute, so you must have been desperate to see me.
あなたがクインティスであることは分かっている。
So, it finally caught up with me. I suppose that makes you, what? One of Nero's assassins? So, you're not going to kill me?
今すぐ選挙を辞退してあなたの債務取りになっている全員を解放すれば殺される。
Oh, so much work and money. Oh, well, if I do it, you'll let me live?
Ah.
Fine. Ruling this cesspit of a city would have been beneath me anyway. I'll have Domitius notify the priestess of my withdrawal and release those two from debt bondage. There, you got what you wanted. Now, please, leave my villa and never speak to me again.
Okay, 辞退させた。次、立候補させないといけない。ここにいない。どこにいる？名前が変わってるね。クエストマークが表示されねえな。
Priestess, Malleolus has decided to withdraw from the election.
Oh, well, that's surprising.
どこに行ったんだろう。この広い街の中、走って探すの大変なんだが。家にもいない。おお、スクリーンショットも撮れるのか、すげえな。
Don't believe a word they tell you.
あ、いたいたいたいた。現れてんじゃん。なんでさっきいなかったんだろう。ああ。はまった。落ちる。ショートカットはやめましょう。
Domitius doesn't usually let anyone in here.
返しろ。分かってんだ。ご安心していい。全員解放しろ。ああ。危ないことはしちゃいけない。もういないんだよな。思うにさ、これ金の卵にできるのかな。できた。
Don't believe a word they tell you.
金のガチョウの卵できたけど、このガチョウの卵どうすんだろう。
Wonder how much one of these Hello there, friend. Well. Oh well.
I have an announcement. Malleolus has withdrawn his candidacy from today's election. Unless any new challengers are nominated by now.
あれ、いねえな。ここで待ってれば来るかな。ATM がガチョウの話してたと思うけど、なんかガチョウの卵の話みたいじゃないかのところの話題で出ただけであって、欲しいとは言ってないからね。あ、来た来た。探したよ。
Fortune smile on Salve. How? Is this? So, any now? Oh.
ありがとう。で
Salve now.
一個ってこと考
But
えて
from what I hear,
辞退したよ。
he did. Oh, I'll let Equitia know I'll be running. All right.
Shalom. Sentius. All right, friend.
これで過半数票を獲得できるようにしないといけないと。さあどうする？まあいろんな人に声かけまくって投票してもらうしかねえな。
Ah, a fellow traveler from a far greetings. My Galerius, did you know he saved the life of my young friend Fabia? The man is a hero. But of course, I...
ファビア、
How'd you do? Hello there, friend. Well? Oh well. Sentius, I suppose. Yeah? And what's he gonna do? Certainly. For a few thousand denarii. Pleasure doing business. Very well.
ありがとう、3000円。
Ah. Galerius, definitely. All right. Nice to talk.
とか、こうなるとガレリアスがすげえヒーローになるよな。すげえヒーローに見えるよな。主人公が全部お願いしたことだけどさ。その、受けた人からすれば全部ガレリアスがやってくれたって形になるもんね。全然いいんだけどさ。別の話をしよう。もう話を終わると言われる人の気持ち。ぼんよりするだろうね。
Keep an eye out for Scintilla. What is it, citizen? Not that it's any of your business. All right?
忠義のものか。
Oi!
Don't believe
How did you
a
get
word.
in there,
Shalom.
you cheeky little stirkers?
Sentius,
If I
I
cop an earful
suppose.
from Malleolus, I'll be coming
Galerius,
for you.
the farm. All right.
What now? Whatever.
That's quite an impressive bow you have. A new face. It must be complete. It'll be between... Why do you ask? Certainly. See you...
Name's Galerius. Sorted out my rheumatism. For the first time in a long time, I'm not in constant pain. Good man. Fine.
なんか、大丈夫そう？総数足りてそう。1、2、3。1、2、3、4でしょ、ここで。デキュスは、変わった。ドミティエス投票しない。こういった投票できない。ガレリウスは立候補者。ジョルディウスは投票してくれる。ハンニバルは死んでる。ホラティウス。カバシは行方不明。いや、オクタビア。ルフィスは OK。なんかいけそうな気がするが。これ以外男性いたっけ？いける気がする。免許返してもらおう。
Harvey. It must be. It'll be, but why do you. All of the male citizens who are willing, and. There are some I can't. By using whatever. As I said, I'm planning to hold. Very well. I'll get things started right away. Citizens, it is time. Let us meet to elect
Yuria.
Sorry, was there some... All right.
みんな向かってる。1、2、3、4、5。6。4取れてるからやっぱいけるな。私ここ。
Citizens, we have a quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus and late nominee Gallus Galerius Helva. Marcus Malleolus Gurges withdrew his candidacy earlier today. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Georgius.
Galerius. He saved the life of my dear friend Fabia.
Dacius.
Galerius.
Virgil.
The man who put a stop to the threats I've been receiving. Galerius.
Ulpius.
Galerius, the man who saved my
お前
life.
入れるのかい
Rufius?
The man who treated my rheumatism. Galerius.
Citizens, you have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Gallus Galerius Helver.
What?
It has been decided. Magistrate Galerius, would you like to make a brief address?
I just want to say, this isn't something I ever wanted. Now that you've put your trust in me, I'm going to do everything I can not to let you down. I'll need some time to put together a list of the changes I want to make around here. But I promise you, there will be changes. My first order is that Dooley is to be freed. Horatius, release him from his cell immediately. Please. Wait, do I need to say please? I suppose not. That's it. You can all get on with your day. Nothing else to see here. Move along.
ね、どんな気持ち？ね、どんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？どんな気持ち？
It's almost as if you're trying to extend my lifespan.
まあ、伸びるといいな。
Glad Galerius won. He deserved it.
Fortune smiles on you today, Julius. Magistrate Galerius here has ordered your release.
You're going to let me out of here?
I'm sorry it took so long, my friend. And it wouldn't have happened at all if it wasn't for a newcomer. So be sure to offer your thanks when you can.
I will. I will. Thank you, Galerius. I'm so happy.
I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got a lot of work ahead of me. Why don't you go to the baths? Then tell Georgius I said you could have some new clothes. Then I want you to go home and rest. I'll speak with you soon, Dooley.
Hello? Oh, sorry. I don't remember things so good. But thank you. You're a big helper. I was locked up, but they let me out again. I'm so happy. You can have my shiny plaque if you want, and maybe you can help me find my treasure. My friend Hannibal used to look after me, and he said he always would. But then he died. But before that, he told me if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious. He gave me a key to the cisterns and told me to keep it safe. He said there's something very precious way up high. Please help me find it. Please. I had to keep it a secret until I found someone else. Oh, thank you. Here's the key.
鍵をもらって。
Hope you find it. In the cisterns. Way up high. Oh, look over there. Maybe it is treasure. I could see it for myself. So pretty. And it's just lying out here in the open. Maybe nobody wants it anymore. Maybe no one will mind if I just
あ、こいつやるな。
take it.
Don't you dare.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
やっぱこいつダメだ。やるだろうなとは思ってたけど。来るの早いなあ、もう。いやいや、おかしいでしょ。いやいや、ダメってことじゃないんだけど、だって、奴から、板とあれもらうには、 一回解放しないといけないから、鍵もらうには。
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and why you look like you've just taken on a gladiator and lost? Oh, so you... All right, let me... What? Are you... You're...
なんか新しいのでしたね。さて。これをやっちゃおうか。で、グリから鍵も回収しました。板も回収してオベリスクにはめるのも全部完了しましたと。なんで遺跡の上に向かって遺跡を開けますと、ここ。開かない。3枚も持ってんだが、持ちすぎでは。ディスタウンは大神殿の下にある。確か、なんか横道に確かあったな。ここにあった、ここに。開いた。あ、これでセンチュラのとこに行くのか。どっちルートでもいいんだな。ありがとう。それが分かっただけでいいよ。アイテムは引き継ぎ。ヘラクエスの試験の方やってみようか。オベリックはどこかな。これか。ほい。ほい。ほい。お、光ってる光ってる。おお。お、開いた。開けてくれって閉じ込められてるわけじゃない。神の名を口にして。全部言わないといけない。鳴き声が聞こえる。あ、順番通りに言わないといけないのね、もしかして。そういうことか。全部言わないといけないってわけじゃないのか。とても近いわ。うわ、眩しい。 なんか、一気に近未来的ななんかになったがいや、一気に一気に、SF になってんだけど。一気に SF ではやっと会えた。誰かいる。
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You are unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will. It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago. That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you, without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting. There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader, Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Persephone. As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten. To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's obol, or as coins for the ferrymen. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for, only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Persephone is along with it. It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer, and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place, in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth. Of course, that is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing. That is a story dating back to the very first wave,
After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, two were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold. And when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching, and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity. Silent golden sentinels. When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies. I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not? For you, perhaps. I am able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes. If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask? Then what an odd question. Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example? I have seen no such thing, but in any case, Taking one's own life is a self-directed act. It is not one that is done to others, however they may be affected. Therefore, it cannot be said that one who commits suicide has done anything unto others. Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked? The merchant. How is that inconsistent with the rule I have outlined? I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway. Now tell me, what others... Ah, the tavern keeper. I disagree. Having watched that tavern keeper, that is precisely what she would expect from others. She would view it as a game, one she intends to win. You speak of the moneylender, and he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority, this is interesting. I'm curious, how do people escape poverty where you're from? I see. And how long might it take such? I fail to see how your system of... Now tell me. The midwife in the palace, yes. The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. They are forsaken. What happens to them? Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. A literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language.
うわ、なんかすげえ完全に討論しないといけない。
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Now tell me, what others... Abduction? You mean the magistrate? He did so because she sought to escape. A sin I take particularly seriously. Now tell me.
最後これしか選べない。最後これしか選べねえよ。喧嘩売ることになるじゃん。
Do you honestly think you could do better? I should strike you down for that. Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning? Very well. My story is many thousands. My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords: desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be... It is a matter of perspective, but despite all that, your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, no. Long ago I swore to Persephone that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that. This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal. Your gaze lingers too long. That is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by many names. Kumutubal to the Sumerians, Kirti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, as you... That is... I give your kind a second chance at love, and when you disobey, and you always disobey, and so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which... Very good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here? If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
He cannot know.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine has slumbered for 3,000 years. Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek? Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule?
俺を愛する人のためにやってるのなら、フルセルミラあなたを愛してないことを知った方がいい。喧嘩売ってるー、喧嘩売ってるー。黄金律の存在がこの町を堕落させている。このままでは賭けにかさされてきた。
How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up.
What どれだろうな。反抗することがあなたの法を破ることになると思わせて債務取りを抑制し
His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day. I admit, I have grown disturbed watching that. He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one. True, I have witnessed him doing that. If you're right, my involvement has corrupted the very thing I sought to observe impartially. But if I were to accept that, are you telling me these humans could coexist peacefully, without theft or violence, without my law?
盗みや暴力を働くのは平和に共存できる、そう言ってるんだ。方便として例外的に武力を行使できる必要がある。
How so?
私たちは発生を抑止し、犯罪を無力化し、発生者を引き下ろすために暴力を。
And how is that working for you?
私がもともといた2005年を未来ではそれがうまく機能している。平均して寿命は伸び、犯罪率が低下している。
So you say, and yet your world is still imperfect.
私たち我々の世界は常に不完全だ。だから理想郷を作ろうとするために必要なる力を用いれば、それはやがて例外なく暴君を生み出す。
You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Chrysobedes' father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that?
どれだ？負けギャンブルをずっとやっていたってことだね、確かに。あなたに解放するためにあなたに賭けを放棄させたあなたを。
Perhaps. And if that was so, surely I would have sensed his deception. How could I have been so blind for so long?
ここまで曇っていたんだ。おそらくあなたはプルセリア・アイスランドに周りが見えなくなっていたので、極めて人間的。
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice, quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
私たちはただ元の世界に帰りたいだけだ。
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
なぜ？
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready? Farewell, mortal.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al. Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Know who you are. I barely remember how I got here myself. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to her. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook, and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him, and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years? What? Oh, I see. For a moment there I thought you were serious. Anyway, I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
Ah, 最初に来たとこのルートだね。
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple. You go on ahead.
Oh. 戻ってきた。あれ、いる。
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find out? Ah, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered while we wait?
あなたが普通の人じゃないと分かった。2000年の前にやったことない。
I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions. You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time. That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here. My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead. Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know? As you wish. You were murdered. You were exploring an old tomb when you discovered a cache of forgotten relics, including 2 silver coins of ancient origin. Unfortunately, As you emerged into daylight, you were set upon by two thieves. A nearby hiker saw the scuffle break out and leapt to your aid, trying to help you recover your bounty. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you followed a few hours later. That man's name was Al Worth. You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Charon's Opal by some, and so it was my duty to bring you here. It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here, nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course. Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans burying their dead with a coin in their mouths to pay the ferryman for passage across the river. Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here. It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
1年後。蘇ったんだ。すげえな。エンセントグリース、ローマ、エジプト、サマー。
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
なんかいろいろと書いてある。あら？
You're finally here. Remember me? It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life. Oh, I used Charon's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're going to be around, we'd love to see you there. Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you'd better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
It's you.
とんでも
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me
と
all
んでも
about
すぎ
you. So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last
There
of
she
the Roman
is.
gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable. Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us. Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself. See you at the wedding, I hope.
Dooley.
Hello, I'm Dooley. Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it. I live at Galerius and Equitia's house. They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth. Treasure? Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. It's my favorite thing. Yeah, they're fun. Bye-bye.
Yulia だ。あら、できそうなキャリアウーマンになってる。
You're the Oracle, right? Oh, of course, sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation. Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about. I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day. Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude? Thank you. You're very kind. Ugh, someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck. Really? Huh. I feel better already. Thank you. You too.
If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there. I hope so.
まあ、ルクレリアだ。
Hi there. You are here. It's nice to finally meet you. Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So, I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time. You too, don't be a stranger.
ナイジェリアってどうだったっけね。
Evening.
お、ホラティオス。
Hi there, I'm Horatius. I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Scintilla with us as well. So, thank you. I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides. Ah, you remembered that. Thank you. I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions, but something given for now, not forever. Thanks. Oh, and I don't know if you've heard, but a few of us are going for drinks later. It'd be nice to chat with you some more. Great. He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one. He had more trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC, so he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. And they say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out, and his life along with it. You know what they say. Live by the sword, die by the sword. You're not wrong. See you at drinks later.
Hey. I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming. Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. He's... you know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again. Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere. He's still there, all alone. The last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me. Then I suppose he got his wish. You too. See you around.
あらあら、 黄金の像にされちゃったの。あら。
Greetings. I take it you're the oracle everybody's talking about. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. We have. I'm sorry, I don't remember. In any case, I'm Philip. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it. I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again. My sincere thanks once again.
Oh, ジョルジュースだ。
Greetings. You must be the legendary oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance. I am Georgius. I am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that I am most grateful. I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it. This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps one day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the Azure Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won. You too, my friend.
You're the one we've been waiting for.
Fabia.
I'm Fabia. I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life.
Museum, is it
I
not?
don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure. I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night. Well, it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive. Thank you. I really am. You too.
なんて野郎がいる。やべえやつがいるな。オクタビア。
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you. I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it. I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber, not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counselor. After you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him. Thank you. That means a lot. And you.
Good evening.
いいじゃん、ライオン。
Greetings.
リビアさん。
Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium. I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while, at least until I'm well enough to be independent again. Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. And you, farewell, friend.
Some soiree, innit?
Amen.
Ah, hello at last. You must be the oracle I've heard so much
Yo,
about.
ATM.
I'm Dacius. Listen, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old relics I accumulated. Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you. Most gracious of you. I took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the oracle and future seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend? Oh, don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius. I won't take no for an answer.
全部嘘。しかも全部下がるやつ。全部下がるやつじゃん。全部下がるやつ。あ、全部下がるな
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm gonna make a bloody fortune. Of course, don't let me keep you. Thanks again for the tips, my friend.
リープ系、変わるなって書いてあったけど。もしかしたら復活するかもしれへんけど。お、この人はもしや、ババツじゃん。
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle. You know my name? Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous. For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun. Indeed. Thank you, Oracle.
楽しんでな。うんうんうん。パーティーのカロンですね。お、センティラだ。
Hello there. Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him. Don't worry, nobody did. I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine. Thanks. You too.
よかったね。
Hi.
これがあれだな。カロン。
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius. I understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake, I'll be forever in your debt. I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope and missed out on all of this? So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way, sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier. Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. You too.
よかったよかった。
Evening.
お、ルフィウス。
Nice to meet you. I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff. I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern, destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
あなたの言ってるのは正しかった。あの像は弓を監視していた。
Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant. You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
Hello.
すごいね、ルーファスとさ、バーシルが一緒にいるのいいね。
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow. I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam, just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are. You too, as Rufus said in his own laconic way, if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
Evening.
Ah, ギリシャのやつがある。いろいろと持って帰ってきたんだね。おお、夜なんだ。月が見える。あの実験した人いないね、そういえば。あれ、いや。あれか。罪を重ねてた人が復活してない？そんなことねえな。何人かいねえな。
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. and now, a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention. Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected. I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. So I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We were all fortunate you came along when you did. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way. Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day. And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city? Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
この下にいるのもしかして。この下にいるの？あの黄金像の人たち、この下にいるの？エンディング分岐4種類あって、1、2、3って分かれて4なんだね。メインで3人、この3人です。だから脱出ルートいくつかあったじゃん。その水道の橋の上から行くとか、あとは本人殺すとか、あとは誰が逆説的にやろうとしてるのかって書いたりとか、そういうところをやっちゃったら多分エンディングがもうちょっと違ったんだろうね。いや、面白いゲームだったなぁ。これは、おもろいなぁ。いいゲームだった。なんか、ちゃんと、どんでん返しも2、3個ちゃんと仕掛けてあって。お。この辺りで選択できるよと。いや、面白いゲームでした。 これがスチームのさ、飛ばしちゃった。スチームのさ、スカイリムのさ、モッドだと思えないよね。はい。ということで、今日これぐらいにしましょう。ありがとうございました。なんかやっぱりやるゲーム、こうやって決まってると楽だなと思うんで、またちょっとこういうアドベンチャーゲームいくつか仕入れてあるので遊んでいきたいと思います。引き続きよろしくお願いします。といったところで今日はこの辺りで失礼しましょう。ありがとうございました。バイバーイ。